Welcome back to Betide, and in this video we are going to look about the connection between the Unreal Engine client and the front end, that is the HTML and CSS and all the JS code that the Pixel streaming front end contains. So we would be sending messages from Unreal Engine to the Pixel streaming front end and then responding to those messages, so that, or in short, we would be sending messages from the Pixel streaming front end to the Unreal Engine client and vice versa. Now, this is important if you want to have some front end UI which can interact with the game. Maybe it's a jump button which you press from the front end and that makes the player jump inside the game and things like that. Now, we also want to let you know that this video would be used for the next part of this series, that is adding voice chat to our game using the 4 player Audin plugin. More on that in the next video itself, but here we would be focusing on the pixel streaming stuff. This is a 4 part video series which will be completed within 2 weeks. I already have 2 videos completed and 2 more would be coming soon, depending upon if you like the series or not. So that said, consider supporting us on Patreon. All our plugins are now free on the marketplace also. So try those out if you want. And that said, let's get started. Oh, also press that red button if you want, or maybe it's white now. So I don't know. Let's go. So welcome back to the screen. Now we can create a new project because we have to set up everything from base. So I would be naming this PS project, that is Pixel Streaming Project. You can name it anything. And also I would be choosing third person as a default template, but you can choose the first person vehicle or any other template that you want. It is completely project independent, so you can choose anything. You can even use your older projects, and you can even use your VR projects. So, but only if you are in 5.2 or something later. So, because 5.2 comes with an experimental feature for VR XR, so you can like use your headset and uh, join a pixel streaming thing. So, now the project is open. Let's go to the plugin section and enable the pixel streaming plugin. For that, you can just go to plugin section and then just search for pixel streaming, and you will find the pixel streaming player and the pixel streaming plugin. We just need to enable the pixel streaming one, that is more important. If you want to have more knowledge about the streaming player, or like the second plugin which is below it, we can create a separate video and you can comment out and we can create a video for it. But for now, let's just restart the project. Now the project has started. We would have to package the project once. Also, just to verify, just select you have this banner. Now package the project once for Windows. This is required to get the samples updated project. Just to expand on what sample means, it is basically your front end, your singling server, your matchmaker, and all that code in a folder, which always goes with your Windows build. So when the Windows build is finished, you would be finding a samples folder in it also, and we would also be finding that in a project folder. Now we would be for like, if you have source control, I would suggest, because when you modify a front end code, it's difficult at times, because you have to add a lot of code to the front end to modify the looks and everything like that, and add more functionality to your project. So always remember to keep your code on the source control if you have like added a lot of different stuff in the front end itself. Now the project packaging has finished. Let's open this up in Explorer. Oh, one sec, sorry. Looks like it took a bit time to open up, but nonetheless, yeah, it did open up. So you can see we have a Windows folder and a samples folder. So this samples folder is the one that we need to use. It has all the pixel streaming things. So create a new folder here firstly, and name this modified samples. Now why we are naming this modified samples? Because the default samples folder gets replaced every time you create a new build. So it's better that we have a modified samples folder which doesn't get modified. So copy the samples folder here and it would take a bit of time, so I will be back in a few seconds. So we are back in the Unreal Engine, and now what we need to do is basically work on the integration part from Unreal Engine side. So as you already know, we have a third person character already coming with the third person template. So we will open that and let's expand this. So by Unreal Engine side of implementation, I mean how we would be receiving messages from the front end and how we would be sending messages to the front end. So that are two aspects that like 50-50% are handled by both the Pixel streaming client and that is the front end code, and the Windows client. Oh, sorry, the Unreal client, which would be an Windows or Linux build, whichever you decide to go with. So the first thing required for it is to add a pixel streaming input component to your character. Now, this is an actor component, so you can add it to a few other things also. You can even add it to any blueprint that you wish. So I would be adding it to the character so that I can make a key press and that goes to the front end and then I receive an input back. So add pixel streaming input. We also have pixel streaming audio, which we would be talking about in a few videos after this, but let's use pixel streaming input for now. So you can name it anything, we would be leaving it as default. And then the next thing that we need to do is on event begin play, bind it so that we receive, whenever something happens, we receive an input. So let me drag this out so we have a little bit of space. I don't want to make my code look bad in terms of what Unreal has already done. So let's add a sequence. I would be adding this to one, and then on, let's drag pixel streaming input and then scroll down to the pixel streaming input category. You have a lot of functions here which you can use, but the main one is assign on input event selected. So it will give you a dispatcher which you can bind to, which is already bind when you use the assign node. So add it out, and I would be naming this message received from pixel frontend. Yeah. And now this is bind. So whenever Pixel Stream, like the front end would send the message to an Unreal client, and if this layer is on, then you would receive the input here. So we can add a print string now. This would usually be some JSON data, so you can use Varest plugin or something like that to decrypt that. But for now, we would be using print string to receive this data, and we would be just printing that yeah, we received a input from Pixel Streaming client. So Pixel Streaming response, and we will just give the descriptor. So what would happen is whenever you receive a message from the front end, it would be printing Pixel Streaming response dash what was the response from the Pixel Streaming. Next, what we need to do is need to send messages to the Pixel Streaming client or the front end from Unreal Engine. So let's scroll down and go to a below section and make a key, and let's maybe make 9 as the key. Why is this not working? 9. Oh, I don't know why my mouse, sorry, keyboard stopped working. One sec. Yeah, it works now. So I added a 9 thing, and then I would have to get the pixel streaming input component, and then let's drag from it and call send pixel streaming response. Now this would send a message to our front end, and this descriptor can be a word. So basically by a word, I mean that you can just type some message which you can receive on the front end, or it can also be a JSON data. Now, how you can use a JSON, that you can see in the next video when we use a 4-player audience plugin to add voice chat to our game. But for now, we would be adding it some message or something like that, any variable which we can receive on the front end, some message, compile and save. So whenever we press 9, this would be sending a message to our front end, and on front end we would receive it and respond with some message which we would get printed on the bind which we made on event begin play. So let's compile this out and save. Looks like everything is good to go. So we can go and make a build for this. So let's select Windows and let's package the project with the latest one. And now the next thing is, till the time this is getting packaged, we have to go to our modified samples, which we are going to use for our so you can see this was last edited 6 minutes ago. Go to samples, pixel streaming web servers. So you have a lot of folders here: frontend, matchmaker, SFU, and signaling web server. The matchmaker and the signaling web servers are what is used to get like servers and instances when you use auto scale. And here in the UI library of the front end is all the code is the main code is located. So we will use Visual Studio and open this up. So sorry, it got on my second screen, but yeah. So the packaging is done. Nice, that was quick. So let's go to source, application, and application.ts. And here is all the main front end code that you see on the example front end side of Pixel Streaming client. So the first thing that we need to do is create a few functions, and these functions are basically event listeners for or response listeners for messages from Unreal Engine. So I scroll down on 367. So after this stream, so we have a lot of event listeners. So we would be doing it after that. So add this dot stream dot add response event listener bracket, then we will name it handle responses. This should be exact, and you cannot like have different values here. And then comma, and the message type should be string, so we will add the receive the response as string. Even if you get JSON data, it should be a string, and you can later convert it into uh, maybe JSON or and decrypt it or something like that. And after this is received as a string, we will just make a console.log and say, yeah, we received a response from Unreal Engine. Response received. After this, we would add we would add a switch case and see what that string is. So let's add a switch case and check the response. If the response is like some message, then we will print something else and respond to the Unreal Engine client. So add a switch response. The case would be some message which we can copy from Unreal Engine itself. Let's go to the Unreal Engine third person character and copy this some message and paste it here. So the case, so if the message received from Unreal Engine is some message, we would be firing this logic, which is console.log uh, received a message from Unreal Engine for some message responding now. So after this, like we would be sending a message back to Unreal Engine. So see, let's see how we do that. So that is not that difficult, to be honest. What you need to do is you need to add this dot stream dot emit UI interaction, and in the brackets you can pass whatever message that you want to return to the Engine. Now this would be sent in the form of JSON, so you can like construct a JSON. If you want to pass some complex data, you can make const response or reply, something like that, and make a JSON variable here itself. So let's see how we do that. Maybe we can have value for reply, and then we set this equal to, what do we say, anything like reply, and we can send this reply JSON back to Unreal Engine and use varest to use it. but we don't need to do that because we just need to send a message back to Unreal Engine as of now. So we would just uh, uh, double quotes, we would put reply from Pixel is streaming, and done. So this is our complete code. Now this is a very basic example to show how Pixel Streaming Frontend and the Unreal Engine connection works. So let's save and then build. Oh, sorry, this should have been saved. Yeah, let's close this. I think this auto saves now. So let's close this. Did I forget something? This line. Nope, here, let's close this one. Now go to the UI library, and on the toolbar, even if you are using a normal file explorer, just oh sorry, I opened up wrong project. Yeah, on the toolbar of the UI library, just write cmd, and then this would open up the command panel with the file path. So write npm install for the first command, and after the install is done for all the libraries that the project is using, write npm run build. So this will build the front end code for us. This is very quick, just takes a few seconds. So yeah, done. Let's close this. And then we need to update the Singlinks web server with the updated files. Let me just show you where the front end code is. Oh no, not here. I need to go back in public. You can see here is the main player.js and player.html that I used for the players, which was last edited 6 August, which was like a very days ago. So go to command, and then here they open this up in command prompt itself also. Now you need to write build dot bat dash dash build. Now dash dash build is very important because if you don't add it, front end would not be built, and this is a bit of time taking process. It takes about a minute or two, so I would be fast forwarding it and coming back as soon as this is done. So the build is done almost, and now you can see it says finished in 0.99 seconds. So we can close this. This line is important because if it does that, that means the build was successful. So now let's go back to our public section, and you can see the player.js got updated 49 seconds ago. That means the front end code got built successfully. So yeah, let's go back to platform scripts and run a local server. Uh, no, we firstly need to copy this samples project to our windows. I forgot, sorry. So copy the samples one from the modified samples and go to your project and then the project name. Delete the samples project that is there and paste the samples one that we copied from the modified samples project. Now this is a bit of time taking process because we have added a lot of things to our modified front end, and I'm using a modified file explorer, and that's why it's much slower in copying and pasting. So I would be back in a second. So open up, let's go back here in the main project. Now the packaging is was successful. Oh sorry, copying was successful. So let's go to platform scripts command, and we have to run the demo locally. So you can double click it. Oh sorry, double click it, and this would start the local one, and we can allow the access. So the HTTP is listening on the port. So let's go back and start our Pixel streaming client also. So for that, we will have to go back to Windows, and we have to create a right click and create a shortcut for it. Where did the shortcut option go? Oh, here it is. So just press on create shortcut. It should be also present on the normal Windows bar, and right click and press on properties. And then on the left, you have one sec. Where is the properties option? Oh yeah, on the left you have the shortcut option. Go to that, and here you can edit the destination. So destination and destination should have a few things. The first would be you can copy the command from the description also. We have to add log. One sec, I need to copy the copy the command. Sorry, I don't remember it very correctly. Yeah, dash log dash render of screen. Yeah, and yeah, added everything. So I also need to add one more thing, render of a screen, because if we don't add render of a screen, it would also be running on the the Windows client that you are using to host it. So do add render of a screen. You can find this in the description also, and save it. So let's run it out. So here I will double click this and this would start the build, and on the right you can see Pixel Streaming client did capture it out. I could see a error, but I don't know why. Maybe it's due to some modifications I did today. But the project is running, so I don't think they are related to the project. Yeah. So now we need to connect to the local host and check how the connection is and how is everything. So we are connected to the local host now. I would bring it here. So you can see we are connected to the local host. Let's press on click to start and we are into the project. So the first step, the basic setup was successful. Good job. Now press Control Shift I and this screen would come up, and then you can go to the console to see that console logs and stuff like that. Now if I press 9, you would see it says response received. That means the Unreal Engine did send a message to the front end, and then let's check the logs for our. Yeah, you can see we did receive a message from the front end. So as soon as we press 9, it sends a message to the front end, which for which the front end prints response received on the front end logs, and then it sends a response back to the Unreal Engine client for which it responds a reply from Pixel Streaming. So pretty happy, right? We are able to manage connections between Unreal Engine and the front end and are able to communicate between the two. This way you can have a lot of things like video streaming, controls on the front end and stuff like that. And on the left you can see the red print strings. The number of times I press 9, it would print a reply from a response from Pixel Streaming client, which means like the connection is working pretty good. Like the connection does work as expected. Now video part 2 of this series would be coming up tomorrow or day after tomorrow, where we use a plugin named 4 Player Audient to add voice chat to our game. And that said, thanks a lot for watching. Consider subscribing the channel and supporting us on Patreon. But that said, thanks a lot. Bye.